Hey guys, I'm Ray. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot a couple of things. So let me get started by hitting record. And you know what? I should probably put my light on too. That light at least. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Why is that not on? That's interesting. Why is my light not coming on? On. There we go. Hey, troubleshooting and fixing things. That's amazing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to the stream. So today is Wednesday, and I guess when last we met, which was Friday, I ended the stream really early. And the reason I had to end it early is because I had too much ping and my stream had dropped out. So I called the ISP, and so they sent out two guys on Saturday. And so they were here early, but they went through every single piece of my internet connection, every line, every connection, everything, with a regular technician and their manager. So that day they doubled my connection speed. However, today I don't know. We seem to be a little bit bopping up and down as far as what I'm seeing so far. So fingers crossed. What they did fixed the dropouts completely. It can bounce a little bit up and down, but I'm hoping that we are going to lose the frame drops and will maintain relatively high upload speed. So fingers crossed we can finish a 2.5-hour stream today. And otherwise, I look different. Is that because I don't have my eyes and ears on? Should probably put these on. But yeah, so I have the gentleman's card, the manager. So if we have any trouble, I can just directly text him. I'm not going to show his card on stream because I don't want to dox anybody or anything. But yeah, so yeah, we should be able to get it all fixed up, and hopefully get a full stable stream today. Most probably, yes. So I've got my eyes on. There's my ears. Let's actually start the forge though before I put my ears on. All right, we've got an ad starting in about 2 minutes. I should be able to start the forge before that. I imagine that my stream setup looks a tiny bit different as well. So I've been really lax about, let me put these on so I can actually hear. I've been really lax about putting things up on our project wall. This back here behind the forge is the project wall. And what I'm supposed to do, pulling hair. What I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to be putting all of the projects up on the wall after we finish them. Well, it's been a while since I've actually updated the wall. And so I did, as you can tell, I kind of put a whole bunch of stuff up. So this is probably about, I don't know, 4 to 6 months worth of projects up on the wall. There are several that are not up on the wall, like the Mandalorian shoulder piece. I couldn't get that one to stay on the wall. I'll have to figure that one out for next time. I don't have the bell on the wall. That's because I gave most of those away as gifts over the holiday season. The other thing that I remember that is not up on the wall is the hairpin that we made together. And I don't know what I did with that. So I couldn't find it when I was looking for it. So when I clean up the shop a little bit more, maybe I'll find it and we'll add it to the collection. Now, I also am aware that the Raise sign doesn't have its lovely purple and pink LEDs that are rotating around the name. That is because, you know, the axes are heavy, and I was hammering a nail into the wall and the axe fell off. Now, luckily, those axes aren't sharp, but they did catch the cord and rip them out of the LEDs. So I have to put new LEDs in the sign. So unfortunately, we will be a little bit LED less for a little bit of time before I'm able to get another string of LEDs to reaffix in there. So we are in the middle of an ad break. Once that ad is done, we can kind of get started a little bit. I'll put this guy in here. So yeah, things and stuff. So yeah, we're just getting started. Hopefully, you know, we can finish the project today. We had quite a short stream, but we were making some really good progress. So hopefully we will be able to finish our dog head bottle opener. So welcome back from the ad, everybody. So if you guys remember, on Friday, we had started working on another animal, an animal sculpture. So this one was supposed to be a dog's head. And we were making some pretty good progress. But when the internet shut down, I kind of ended up turning off the forge, and I've saved the rest of the project for today. So we are going to finish shaping the dog head. Then we are going to start doing a little bit of decoration. I want to thin out the neck a little bit on this dog so that we can kind of bend, put a little bend in it so that it's not looking straight out, and it looks a little bit more lifelike. Then we're going to start decorating the dog, like putting in some ears and eyes and nostrils and things like that. And then we'll start working on our bottle opener on the other side. Hey Corwin, welcome to the stream. I'm doing pretty good. You're lurking mostly. That makes sense. You know, people still got to go to work and stuff. So Corwin, I put all of our stuff on the wall, and I put your knife and your candy cane up on the wall with the rest of all of our pieces. So if anybody else wants to put pieces that they have made up on the wall, you know, let me know. I've got Discord, and you can message me on Discord, and I'll send you the address for the PO box, and then we'll stick your pieces up on the wall too, because it's not just my project wall, it's all of our project walls. So yeah, exciting. Except for, you know, the fact that I accidentally broke my LED string. You can kind of see what's going on with it while I pull this out. So this is the cable for the LEDs, the string, and it's got like a little USB thing. So, you know, I got the cell phone charger thing. Well, this side goes directly into the LED string, and it just kind of broke. It just pulled it out, and so I don't, there's not enough here left for me to reattach the copper wires to the LEDs. So we're just gonna have to get a new set of LEDs for this. So yes. Let's see what else is going on. So yeah, like I said, I I filmed myself putting the wall together, so that's going to be a new video that I post up on YouTube probably next week. On Wednesday this week, we are going to be doing, or I'll post the video for our scissors that we finished up the week before last. So I'm super excited about that video. I was very proud of those scissors, so I'm really excited to see everybody's comments and how you guys think that the video turned out. Let's see. But yeah, so we've got the internet somewhat connected at the very least. We should be relatively stable, hopefully. And if not, I've got a phone line, a direct connect to the ISP. So we should be able to get somebody out really quickly to respond and fix the net. But hopefully we don't have to use that. So yeah. Let's see, what else happened this weekend? We've been doing a little bit of gardening. So we've got 36 little like starters with like seeds in them. So we put those outside after the frost on, what was it? Was it Friday, or I think it was Friday morning it was supposed to frost. So we finally put them out. Hopefully we won't have any more frost overnight, and they can start sprouting so that we can plant them in the backyard. And I've been watering them while they've been outside, and it seems like the water's absorbing pretty well. I was a little bit concerned while they were sitting on the counter. The water just wasn't absorbing into the soil. So I was afraid that the seeds weren't going to get enough nutrition to end up sprouting in time. So I don't know. I'm not the most green thumb person. So fingers crossed they work. They do their natural growing thing, and I don't kill them by accident somehow. So that was kind of my weekend this weekend. Like I said, we did a little bit of gardening. We filmed the video. So what did you guys do? Anything fun this weekend? I'm always interested to hear what you guys do over the weekend. And then while we are deciding, what we want to share, I am going to start our first heat. All right, so we've got a decent head going on there. We'll heat it up, do one more heat to see if we can't sharpen that up just a little bit, and then we'll see about bending the head. You made an eye punch and a spatula. Nothing exciting. Well, I think that's pretty exciting. Unfortunately, I saw that you streamed on Sunday, but unfortunately, I wasn't home to watch it. We do a lot of stuff in the afternoon and evening on Sundays because we've got to make sure that everything gets done ahead of time for, the week to come. So I'm really busy on Sunday afternoon and evenings. So I have to check out your stream after the fact. But yeah, an eye punch and a spatula sound pretty exciting to me, at least. We did our spatula version and over there, and my eye punch, I don't have an eye punch yet. That's one of the things that I really want to do is I want to make a set of punches to decorate these animals. I want to make some eyes. I want to make some other types of like corner chisels and some different radius round punches and things like that, so I can do some really nice decorating of these animals, because I'd like to start doing a few here and there. So I don't know, like I said, that sounds pretty exciting to me. Also, any day in the shop is a good day, you know? So I'm excited. I'm happy that you were able to get out into the shop. I've got all my chisels and stuff over here, like the limited amount of sizes that I've got. So we'll start using those in a few. Like I said, I want to do at least one more heat to just try and shape the overall head piece. A coworker came over and we ended up starting a pattern welded billet, but he only had a couple hours, so didn't finish it. Yeah, sometimes it takes quite a while to get pattern welded billets together. Were you able to do too much manipulation or very, very much manipulation? How many forge welds were you able to do? There's a lot of different things like that you can do to manipulate your pattern. You know, the very beginning is just, you know, you stack your pattern together, and then, you know, once that initial pattern is together, you draw it out, cut it apart, and start manipulating it. It's sitting there for when he comes next. That's exciting. I love it when people can come and work on different projects in the shop, even if they don't have their own individual shop. You know, they can come and join another blacksmith. That's really exciting. That would be so much fun. All right, I'm gonna do another heat. Any interesting patterns or that you're trying to get, or are you just sort of like letting the pattern decide for itself? I think that's what I would end up doing. First couple heats, gotta let the pattern decide what it's gonna do. All right, we are going to take the corners off of this a little bit, see what we can do with that. Got to get a little bit close to the back of the head that we've created, but I don't want to do too much because I don't want to hammer directly on the head. Modify the pattern that we have. So we've kind of rounded out that neck a little bit. I don't want to go too far. I don't want it to be round per se, because it might look a little bit awkward with the rest of it being so square and geometric. So we are going to heat this guy back up. We're going to try and bend the head down a little bit. How's the interwebs today? The interwebs are a little bit bouncy. However, I haven't seen anything lower than 4K millibytes per second. So fingers crossed, we actually stay relatively stable and we don't lose that many frames. I did have the ISP come out on Saturday. They came a little bit early, so we weren't even home, but they stuck around. So far it looks tons better than last time. Excellent. I'm super excited about that. But yeah, I had the service tech came out, and then his manager came out, because this is the third time I've had to have somebody come out and take a look at all my stuff. So the manager took everything apart, put everything back together, fixed one of the like connections from the post to my connection. And so far, it's been pretty darn good for all the streaming and the gaming that we do. But I haven't had a chance to do a test stream. So this is kind of our test stream. I do have the manager's business phone number, so I can get directly to the manager and he can come out and make sure that everything is right, see if there's anything else that he can do to kind of improve the signal. So fingers crossed, I don't have to use the card. Started with 15 layers, welded, drew out, folded in 4 sections. Next time he comes over, he can weld it up and draw out, resold again, and then up to him to decide if he wants to stop at 240 layers or go for more. Probably just a twist or an easy ladder pattern. See, those are the best ones, I kind of feel like, because then, or raindrop, you know, because those are relatively easy to do. You don't have to remember what orientation that your layers are in. It's just very straightforward. You know, you stack, you put your stack together, you grind in some lines, or, you know, drill in some lines for raindrop. You put a twist in if you're looking for the twist pattern, and they're all gorgeous. You know, I love like the simplistic patterns. I mean, the really complex ones they're beautiful, and there have been some amazing pieces of Damascus made by different people who, you know, have done some amazing things. But those basic patterns, I think they're awesome, you know? One of these days, we're going to do some pattern welded steel here on stream. I have to get a hold of some 1090 or 1080 somewhere in there, and then the 15N20. And then we will put something together. It is my goal this summer to get a billet of Damascus done this summer, if I'm able to. Last year's goal was to create an axe, and you can kind of see up here that we've got 2 okay attempts, right? But we never got a success, like a really, you know, hands down success. So I really want to do something really nice with this Damascus. Maybe we'll make the axe. It depends on how much I'm able to acquire. It's gonna be a fun project. I'm gonna change the angle of the camera because I'm thinking about it. We're gonna bring it over here. And try not to tangle ourselves up in the sketty that is all of my cables. All right. Whee! Okie doke. Let's do another heat. All right. So like I said, we're going to kind of try and move the head down a little bit. So we've got a little bit of movement there. I don't want it to move too far, like too awkwardly. We're going to probably take a couple of heats just to kind of figure out if we can't do like a little bit of an upset corner right here to kind of make it a little bit more realistic, and move the head back on the neck a little bit. So I'm going to heat this back up, and we'll see what we can do. It is super nice outside today. I think I want to open the garage door just to get a little bit more cross flow. So it's actually about 80 degrees today. Yesterday it was in the 50s, 40s, 50s. It was in the 30s, like on Saturday. So we've gotten this big broad sweep where it was freezing on Saturday, and now here we're in like an 80 Fahrenheit. So it is kind of crazy, but you know, that's kind of par for the course in spring. There's like, you know, fall, spring, and then there's, you know, more winter. And so I'm hoping that the weather starts to settle down and we start getting a nice mid-range spring, but it seems like it's just going to be a super hot spring. So we shall see. What I'm really hoping for is a relatively mild couple of weeks into the end of April, because the end of April, the first weekend, or like the last weekend of April in through the first weekend of May, we're going to be going to the Ozarks to the Missouri Artist Blacksmith Association's conference, and I would love to have a nice weather for that, because the conference is in the open air. So if it gets super cold or rainy, it can be relatively miserable. It's 71 here. I cleared, raked the garden and and rototilled. Yeah, we haven't actually started doing the tilling for our new garden that we're going to be putting in. We just figured we'd do the starters first and then be a little bit slower at tilling the garden, or where it's going to be. It's going to be relatively small. Like I said, we only really have 36 plants, but we want to expand it, you know, year over year. If we can get them to sprout and grow, it would be really nice. But we might find out that we have brown thumbs and then just, like, you know, I don't know, maybe we'll give up. I hope not. It'd be nice to grow my own food with my own hands, you know. I do all this blacksmith stuff, and I feel like gardening is a really good thing to add to that. So, yeah. I'm hoping that I can do a little bit of, like, you know, homesteady type stuff, but not too extreme, because you know what? I love my internet, I love my video games, and I love my air conditioning. So when I say that I want to do a little bit of homesteady like stuff, I mean, I'm such a city slicker. I don't really mean it. It sounds good in my head, but I do not like it in reality, I think. All right. So, let's see here. I really only have the peanut butter jar for what I want to try and do. And last time I dropped our lizard inside of here, and I think I cracked it because it felt like it was leaking, but I never found the crack. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to use this again and maybe not fill it quite as full. But I want to kind of quench the nose on the dog so that we can kind of do a little bit of an upset corner without messing with the nose of the dog. I don't really like much either. Oh, you don't like reality much either. I read that wrong. You know what? I love touching grass, you know, but I'm also very much an agoraphobe sometimes. I just don't want to go outside. I've got my video games, I got my streaming, I got my internet. I'm good, right? All right, let's do another heat. All right, like I said, I want to kind of cool off the nose a little bit. It's moving slowly but surely. It's moving. Not too bad. We're going to keep on keeping on. A couple more heats to kind of fix the head. Like I said, I kind of want to push the chin, this area right here, back a little bit further, just so that it looks a little bit more natural. And yeah. It's not too bad. It's not too unnatural. I mean, it's not like a human where, you know, you got your Adam's apple or like the little hanging double chins or anything, but you know, still the dog's head usually sits like the back of the dog's jaw kind of sits about halfway behind the neck, so I want to push it back as far as I can. So yeah, it's been kind of a couple days. Like I said, I spent most of the day on Friday just like arguing with my ISP. And when I called them up, everything was reading normal on their end, but it was clearly not because we lost the stream. And so I kind of had to argue about it. And so eventually they just relented. I kind of had to put a little bit of my Karen on, which is, I definitely hate doing that. It's like, I totally understand people are just trying to do their job. I don't want to have to scream at you. I don't want to have to make your job hard for you, but I do need to make sure that my stream is stable and I can get things done, you know? And so it took me quite a while to argue and advocate for myself. And so Saturday, they said that they were going to come between 3 and 4, but they were here at 2:30, which is kind of crazy. I myself wasn't even home because we were still getting lunch. We got a late start on Saturday morning, and we're kind of playing video games a little bit late into the afternoon, and so we were still at lunch. We knew that they were supposed to be here at 3, but they came at 2:30, and so we rolled up and they were already climbing the pole outside. It was interesting to see. So we have an ad break starting in about 2 minutes. I think I'm going to allow the material to soak up that heat until the end of the ad, just to kind of give myself a little bit of extra heat and work time. And yeah, so we'll just kind of chill and hang out for a bit. It's another one of those days where you guys need to decide whether you think that I'm going to drink out of my quench jar or not, you know? Last time we came up with the answer that maybe I will pick it up, but I won't actually drink it. I think that's probably going to be true again, but you never know. You never know. So I don't know, guys. What do you think? Should I show you guys my tray of seedling sprouts sometime, or should I just stick to what I know and what I'm good at, and, you know, just do the blacksmith thing, you know? Burn the metal, hammer things. We don't need new things. I don't know. I'm interested to see how well these plants go. If I can make them grow at all. Oh, there's always Discord. Yeah, I could take pictures of the plants and the not sprouts, because, you know, I finally planted them on Thursday, and I was gonna tell you guys about it before the internet decided it was gonna go kaput. So yeah, I was going to tell you that I put the little plants in the seed tray, or I guess the little seeds in the seed tray. And so it's only been like, what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, today, Sunday, Monday. So it's only really been about 4 days, like 4 full days, because it was like Thursday night when I put the seeds in. So I don't have any plants yet, but I'll try and take some pictures as we go. I've been trying to get out to water the plants every day because I think that's what I read on the package, is that I'm supposed to water them every day. So we are on an ad break, and so I don't know. I guess this is the best time for me to come up with more topics to talk about. I've got a list of things that I want to do for projects, and I got to come up with a new project for after these animals. I haven't really decided what order I want to do the projects in. So I don't know. Maybe I will ask you guys once the ad is over what project you guys would like to see next. We're making some pretty good progress. So we should get plenty of time to work on the bottle opener on the other side. So that makes me really happy because I'm really, really bad at doing punch holes. So we are going to, once we're happy with the dog, we're going to turn it around and put a bottle opener on the other side. All right, and we is back. We are back. Let's see if we can't do a little bit more of an upset corner on this dog head. Like I said, I'm just trying to make the back of the head be a little bit closer to the center of the neck. But I don't really want to mess around or mess it up too much. I think we can kind of fix the little bit of a nose that I screwed up a little bit there. And then we're going to push this back a little bit. And then I'm going to drop my dog on the ground. Okay. It's starting to work. We're starting to get that. I think I'm going to do another heat or two trying to fix that a little bit. And then from there, we're going to start decorating the muzzle and like the dog head. Yes. I dropped it. Drop one. For once, the drop counter is already reset. That's actually really exciting because I always forget to do it. And so I must have been that I didn't either A, I didn't drop anything on Friday, or B, we just didn't stream long enough to drop anything. And see, I think that is the latter, that we just did not stream long enough for drops to start adding up. Bog Body USA, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. I hope you're having fun. I know I am. I always have fun here out in the shop. It might be more fun just to keep the count running. I mean, maybe, but then every time I add, it'll get, up to the 2 digits, and then it'll go up into the 3 and 4 digits. And you know what? That actually might be a little bit discouraging for me. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just have 2 counters, right? So then we can count until we hit 100, and then we'll have a separate count where it's like, how many times has Ray dropped things 100 times, right? So then it's kind of like tally marks, right? You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then start a new count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think? It's like aging, right? You get to 39, And then you don't go to 40, you're just 39 again, at least until somebody calls you out on it. You know, if you've got like younger siblings, when they hit 4 or 39, they might be like, oh, now what? Now how does this work? If you're 39 and so am I. So I don't know. We'll come up with something. Something that's a little bit less bad on my ego, right? Although I don't know, do I even have an ego these days? I'm usually the first person to be like, I am not an expert blacksmith. If you want to see an expert blacksmith, I've got a whole list of people that I can point you to, but I am not an expert blacksmith. I'm getting a little bit better. I think that we've made a certain amount of progress over our year and a half that we've been streaming. I mean, we did the checkup with the fork, knife, and spoon. We did this set last year, and we did this set this year. And I really see a marked improvement between the two sets. So I am making some progress. However, you know, I still have a way long to go. You know, I think when I started, I was about here. I'm maybe about here, right? And then we've got some expert blacksmiths. Some are even in this community right now that are like way up here. So we'll get there one day, but it just will take us some time. Some time. All right, let's do another heat. And this will probably be our last heat on this camera angle because I think I'm going to try, that is, to start decorating to finish this not really upset corner. Oh, now the dog doesn't look amazingly good right now. Let's see if we can't fix that curb. Straighten that out just a hair. We got a decent muzzle now. Not too bad. Maybe we'll do one more heat just so that we can kind of okay, I had a thought. I promise I had a thought. What do I want to do? I don't know. I'll think about it. So you know what? Let's do another heat where we are going to be doing... Oh, it was straightening it out a little bit. It's a little bit cockeyed between, like, if you look down this way, there's a little bit of weirdness in where the cheeks would be. So we're going to redo that for our next heat, and then we're going to go and start decorating. Apologies, guys. Apologies. One of these days, I will remember what I'm trying to say and do. Evening sandwich. Looks like a decent goose on first glance, right? I kind of feel like that's partially due to the fact that I haven't started putting in like some of the more detail-y details. Like I want to carve in some ears, and I want to put eyes in there, and maybe, I don't know, we might do some cheek fluff. I doubt we're gonna be able to do that because I'm still really novice at this whole carving up the, you know, the animal and just making it look more lifelike with like hair and things like that. I really want to do it, but I think I need a few more attempts before I get that detailed. But yeah, it does kind of look like a goose right now. So I don't know. Maybe I'll change it from being a dog to being a goose. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's been a good couple of, or, you know, year and a half being here streaming learning and chatting with you guys. I've had so much fun. And, we're improving the cameras, the technology. We are improving the blacksmithing and, the conversation. I think we're improving on all fronts, or at least we're trying to. I guess you guys are the judges if I've actively, improved or not. So this weekend, I guess this next weekend, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I'm going to be planning what we're going to be doing next week. Like I said, I don't really know what project I want to do next. I've got a whole list of things that I want to do. And I have to decide specifically, one thing or what's going to be the next thing. So one of the ideas I had is to grab the chain that Mahalo sent me in the mail and make a chain hold down, right? So it's a length of chain and one side is like drilled into and affixed to the side of the anvil stand. And the other side has a hook attached to it. And then I can add weights so that we can hold material down on the face of the anvil. And I think that's going to be a real improvement for our ability to make things and keep things from dropping. So I don't know, maybe the drop counter will be less interesting after I do that, I'll have something to put over top of my pieces so they're less likely to fall. Another idea that I had was there is this tool, it's called a guillotine tool. And it's not like sharp or anything like that. It's just like, it's a frame. And you can put die, or it's got like a little square in the center, and you put two dies, one on the bottom and one on the top. And they can be fullering dies, they can be cutting dies. You can even put like coin dies and things like that for making coins and different shapes and things like that. So I don't have one. It's an incredibly convenient tool, especially if you're doing things like mortises and tenons. So it would be very convenient and very nice to have one of these tools. So I have some 1/2-inch plate, and I want to see if I can't build one for our anvil, for our Hardy. So that is another project. Those are both kind of tool projects. So they're not really like lots and lots of forging. It's more fabrication. And I know that you guys love seeing the forges going and the fire. So I'm definitely not going to do those two projects back to back. But I don't know. I might pick one or the other and try to do one of them. I also have some other stuff that I'd like to do tool-wise. Like I'd like to take some of the spring steel that we've been working with, that Corwin sent, and make a set of really nice wolf jaw tongs, or, with like really skinny reins. I'd love to do a project like that. I would also like to do more punches and chisels so that we can make better looking animals. So those are a few of the projects that I've got. I also have a hammer that I'd like to make, but I don't know that I want to do the hammer until I've got a good drift for it. And I don't know. I kind of want to cheat and just buy one when I'm over in the Ozarks for the BAM conference. I know that's probably bad of me, but I just don't have any pieces of steel that are big enough to make them without dipping into the steel that I'm actually going to use for the tools themselves. Hey, Bluesy, welcome to the stream. Hey, I and my 259 harbingers of chaos. We have arrived. Ooh, an abbreviated intro. Welcome to the stream, Bluesy. I hope you've been having fun, or at least, getting some good work done. We're going to do another heat real fast. It's probably planting season for you. All right. We're going to do a little bit of working with the cheeks a little bit. And I think we're doing all right. All right. In our next heat, we are going to go over to the post vise and do a little bit of decoration, I think. I want to put some ears on there. This kind of looks like he deserves a flappy ear, but I think I might try and do like little triangle ears anyway. He's got a pretty good muzzle there. I don't know why I've decided that he's a he. And we'll probably take a look at doing some eyes at some point in the near future as well. But not too bad. Not too bad. Work is life. Work is fun. Planting season. I finished planting. We got lucky and the weather was reasonably mild. Yeah, we've had some really nice mild days recently, but then we've also had a couple of days where we've had frost. So I haven't really gotten to put all of our crops, our starters outside yet. So we just got them outside yesterday because I think we're done finally with the frost. So hopefully I don't have to worry about that anymore. But honestly, I don't know because I'm not amazingly good at this whole planting things thing. We got seeds, but I'm almost afraid that we got them too late in the season and they're just not going to finish bringing forth their fruit, I guess, before the season ends and it gets too cold or they start rotting on the vine. Or like the plant or whatever. I don't know. I am not a farmer. This is the first time I've attempted a garden. Yeah, well, I do not do starters. I plant seeds in the ground. Well, I mean, you got fields, right? we figured we just do the starter thing, so in case like we end up killing the plants before we get started or they just don't sprout, we don't have to dig up the yard. Duh, just a little. So I don't know. I probably have the biggest brown thumb ever. We buy cat grass occasionally for the cat, and I always end up killing it because I forget to water it. You have dead fingers instead of green fingers. I mean, 10,000 or no, not 10,000, 1,041 acres. So that is a really, really big plot of land. My house sits on about 2 acres, and it's huge for us to mow and take care of. But I mean, if your whole job is just to be a farmer, it's not one plot. Oh, okay. I see. So are you taking care of your neighbors, or do you just have several plots that you own in different places? There are multiple fields and plots. Yeah. My grandparents on my mom's side used to be farmers, and before my grandfather died. Well, yeah. And so they did this like plowshare kind of thing where one of the farmers in their area had all of the big machinery, and they would all pay for part of the maintenance of the machines, and then the guy who owned them would go around and use the machines in all of the different plots. My wife said she has a black thumb instead of green, and I tried so hard with plants. Oh, she tries so hard with plants. Yeah. Hey, I'm a woman and I do it. I'm not saying that, that women can't do it. It's just that I personally don't think I could. I'm pretty helpless. I am a giant city slicker. I won't lie. The last time I did anything productive on a farm I was like 10 years old and I mowed the lawn on the tractor. I was super excited because my grandpa was like, "Ooh, you're going to learn how to drive this tractor." And I didn't realize that he was pawning off his work on me. I was just like, "Ooh, I get to drive this little tractor thing." It was exciting, guys. Driving a tractor. All right, I'm gonna put it in like so for the first, and we're gonna see if I can make this happen in this direction. There is a chance that I'm gonna have to, or that I'm not gonna make any progress, and I'm gonna have to use a little bit of, moving this around a little bit. Yeah, I think that's probably what's gonna happen here. Trying to cut in some ears a little bit. And we're starting to move around. So I think what we're going to do is next heat, we're going to put it in the nose. So that way the nose kind of holds it down. So we're going to put it like drop. We're going to put it in like so that I have a little bit more space to work and see if we can't cut in those ears a little bit further. We've got a little bit of a start, but I think it's so small right now that I risk breaking it off. So we shall see. Maybe it's going to be one of those dogs where you like clip their ears. You know what? You know what? The mailbox is popping. The mailbox is popping a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure why it keeps doing that. It might just be, I do need to turn it up a little bit. So it might just be a little bit on the low side. Yeah. Yeah, the mailbox is puffing once in a while. Are you making derpy? Yeah, it's probably the regulator. Yeah, it's the tank is starting to get a little bit low, so I do have a brand new tank behind the camera. So if it gets too low, we will change tanks. But I think that it's starting to the regulator is at 10 psi right now, and as it goes, it starts to lower the psi. So when I walked over there just then, it was down to 8 psi, and that's kind of a little bit low for that particular burner. I do my best, but when they start getting a little bit low, that's kind of what happens. Oh, the other thing that we did this weekend is we went to the bulk store, which is Sam's. They're owned by the same people who own Walmart. And so you can buy like food and drinks and objects, I guess, in bulk for like cheaper prices. So we topped up on the juice and the Gatorade. So when it's Gatorade o'clock, I actually have Gatorade to go and drink. So that's exciting. I really like to be able to drink Gatorade as opposed to soda when I'm in the shop. Alrighty. Let's see how well this is gonna go. Let's see if I break off the ears that I'm trying to make, or I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It's starting to look a little bit like a boxer. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna cool down the muzzle a little bit so that we're not modifying the shape too much as we're doing this. And then probably gonna go like this. We're getting close. I moved it back just a little bit, so we are getting a little bit of maybe a double ear thing, so it might be like a mutant dog or something. So you can definitely see where I've cut that up. I need to push it up. And that actually is probably a little bit too close to where the eye is, to be quite honest. Now that I think about it. So I don't know. This might, I probably should have brought it back quite a lot more. Yeah, I definitely think I should have brought the ear back a little bit more. Oh well, we'll come up with some reason why it's there. Knott's hubby told me that I should stick with dragons because dragons don't really have any realistic comparison, and so therefore I could pretty much do anything I want, make any mistakes that I want, and it would still look like a dragon. So maybe that's what I should have done. I probably should have taken that advice, but I don't know. I have this habit of just doing things the way I want to do them anyway. So we might be screwing up again, but we might not. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. It might actually be a good place to put an eye if I like cut that all the way out, then, you know, I can stick the eye in there and maybe put some ears behind it. I don't know. I'll figure it out as we go. We got an ad that's going to be starting up in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And once that's over, we should have plenty of heat in order to start working on the other ear or eye or whatever it is that we are, chunk. We're going to take off another chunk on the opposite side and see how well that goes. Goodness gracious. So the other day, hey, Dr. Optimal, welcome to the stream. Hello, how are you? How's the metal smacking going? I think I've accidentally started cutting in the ears a little bit too much or too close to where I want the eyes to be. So I'm not sure how well this dog head is going to turn out. But when we're done with it, regardless, we're going to turn it around and put in a bottle opener. And I do have a bottle that we are going to open once that's finished. So fingers crossed we can finish it today, and then I don't know what we're going to do for Wednesday. We might try another animal just to have 3 animals somewhere in there. That also gives me a little bit of time. It kicks the can down the road for what I want to do for my next project. So, you know. But yeah. So on, I think it was probably Saturday, I was talking to the butler about the scissors that we made together. And I was talking about how I was super excited about how well they turned out. They actually cut, you know, they look good visually, and, you know, they turned out very well. I was very shocked that I did that. or that I made them so well. And the butler was like, you know why you did that, Ray? And I was like, why? Why do you think that I was able to make the scissors, though, that well? And the butler goes, because you took the kitchen scissors out and you had a reference. So, you know what? Maybe the reason that I've screwed up the ears so quickly, screwed up the dog head, is because I don't have a reference of a dog out here to look at. So maybe that's what I'll do for Wednesday's stream, is I will put a picture of whatever animal I decide we're going to make on Wednesday, and we'll stick it up on the screen so I can kind of take a look at it as I'm building it. All right, so we are in the middle of an ad. I know a lot of artists use references. Yes, references are incredibly important for artists, especially artists who are drawing figurative or painting, because if from your head, you get a very skewed view or visual reference in your head, and having someone there, it makes it a lot easier to get the right curves and the right shapes. I keep wiping my nose because I don't know. I feel like I'm about to sneeze, but I haven't actually. It's one of those where you're about to sneeze, but you don't actually follow through with the sneeze, and then you tamp it down, and you don't sneeze until you actually do, and that's where I'm at. I'm trying not to sneeze, but I'm gonna eventually, I think. So yeah, the butler also told me that I should have a list that I actively write down every day. You know how I tell you guys that I have lists in my head of topics that I can talk about during our stream. And sometimes when the going gets rough and the project isn't working the way I want it to, I forget some of the lists because I only have so much brain power, and so I've got to split that brain power with the project that we're doing, the video stuff like the AV tech, and me talking to you guys. And so sometimes the AV side suffers, sometimes my speaking suffers, but most of the time I could solve it by just writing stuff down. Hey Mahalo, hey Blue Red, welcome to the stream. We are having fun making a dog, or screwing up a dog head. We'll see, how well it comes out in the end, but I recently found out that some people don't visualize things in their head, like not having an inner monologue. I have no idea how this is possible. It fascinates me. Yeah, we can talk about that in just a second. I do want to do another heat before we do, though. I have a couple of stories about that, though. It's always really interesting to talk about that topic. Let's see if I can't cool down the muzzle a little bit again. And then we're going to start working on the other ear, I think. Hopefully not start burning our hands, because this is sticking up in weird ways. All right, let's start right here. All right, so we've got two little ear type things. And I think the next thing that we need to do is kind of bend them outward. But I definitely want to make sure that I got them nice and hot. So when I bend them out, they're not going to break off. So like I said, I think the ears are a little bit too close to where I want those eyes to be, but we shall see. I think I should have pushed them back a little bit further. I started the ears where I think I wanted the base to be, and so we will learn from our mistakes for the next animal. Wow. Blue Red, thank you so much for that subscription re-up. 5 months. Goodness gracious. That is crazy. Thank you so much for that continued support. And you know what? Time is flying. I don't know where the time has gone, you know? But thank you so much for your continued support. Give it 2 needs to make give it 2 heads to make it a Cerberus. I mean, maybe. I kind of feel like if I was going to do that, though, I need to do it with the coal forge so I can forge weld the 2 heads together. That would be a really cool project. Or maybe we could do 3 heads, you know, like, what is the Cerberus, I think? Maybe it is a Cerberus. I don't know. Yeah, the months are going by quick this year. I agree. There's so much going on that it's just everything stacks up and it's a whirlwind. It is so crazy. So yeah, I have a couple of stories about visualization, right? So me, myself, I have an inner monologue, right? So when I'm talking to you guys, oftentimes I'm just verbalizing the inner monologue that's going on in my head. So a lot of times I'll just do stream of conscious, especially when I am actively working on the anvil on a piece of steel, right? So if I'm not speaking and I hear my voice when in my inner monologue, I have like music. So like you hear like Taylor Swift or Metallica or a symphony or whatever type of music that you listen to, I can hear that in my head. And it's the active or the actual recording. I'll hear that in my head. But I can also visualize things like in 3 dimensions as a picture. But how I do it, I can see like when I see it, the closer it is to the center of my I don't know, picture view, so like screen I would call it almost. It's clearer, but the closer it is to the edges of where I'm visualizing, the more foggy it gets, um, like hazy or like out of focus. And so that's how I see things, right, in my head, right? Um, Does your monologue has a soundtrack? That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I also have a little bit of ADHD, so I can have 2 inner monologues and a soundtrack going at the same time, depending on what's going on and how much I'm trying to do at any given time. Sometimes that gets really, really confusing, and that's kind of how I end up where I speak part of a sentence and I leave it hanging because I'm trying to organize all of this information in my head. Well, I was explaining all of that to the butler one day, and the butler goes, I don't see words, I don't hear words. All I see in my head are pictures, right? So it's just they visualize like if you're talking about an apple, the picture of an apple pops into their head and they can turn it around and it's just like an apple, right? And the more detail you talk about, the more detailed the picture gets. And they don't have an inner monologue. And I'm just like, whoa, how do you organize your thoughts? And so the butler was telling me how when they talk, they have to translate all that whatever is going on in their head into words, and it doesn't automatically do it. They have to think about it. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. I don't think I could manage that. That's just so much information. I just don't think I could do it. What happens with me is someone will say a word or a phrase, and that triggers a memory, and a song related to it starts bouncing around in my skull. See, that happens to me too. That's how I end up getting music stuck in my head. It's like, you know, someone will say something that is closely related to the line of a song, and then I will just have that song stuck in my head for the rest of the day. I have all three as well. I can even see words when people talk. I see it visually and the word both. This is why it fascinates me that others don't. Yeah, and I've heard that some people can't visualize images in their head at all. So it's like your inside of your head must be so boring, and I doubt that it actually is. Because, you know, it's just the way people's brains function. And there's a lot of research that's going into that, and that has already happened around that topic. But it's kind of interesting because they say that when we perceive like colors and sounds and visual stimuli, that one person may perceive it one way and another person may perceive it in a completely different way. And I find that fascinating. It is so weird to think about that, you know? We're going to do another heat real fast. We're going to try and bend those ears out as best we can. I'm probably not going to be using a little or much in the way of different angles, because there's only so many angles that I can do here at the post vise without getting in my own way. So we're going to do what we can. Alrighty. Whoops, I'm dropping things all over the place, so I hope you guys are, you know, recording all of that. And then we're going to do this. You know, we lost a little bit of that ear. Just a little bit. Alright, I think we're doing alright. So I think for our next heat, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on the face. Like the eyes and the nose and stuff. We've got some ears. I'm not particularly happy with them, but they're there. So we're going to put it in like so. Actually, I think it's going to be more like so. And I probably do like nostrils and eyes and things like that. I dropped like all of my punches and chisels, guys. Well, not all, but very many of them. Let's pick those up. I think that's it. I will have to fix my board. Okay. Yep, the other day someone mentioned an umbrella and the song Bus Stop by the Hollies started up. Yeah, that stuff happens to me all the time too. That reminds me of an Anubis from Egypt. I think it kind of does to me as well. It's starting to get there. So I want to put some eyeballs and maybe some nostrils. I don't know. Probably not nostrils, because you know what? We were doing the lizard, and the lizard has just like nostrils, and they don't have like a nose that's, you know, on their noses. It's just, they don't really have protruding noses. They just have nostrils. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just do eyes and not nostrils. We'll see. We will see. But we're getting there, I think. We'll definitely put a mouth in, though, you know? I wanted to keep the mouth a little bit bigger than I had, or like the muzzle a little bit bigger, so that I could actually open the mouth. But I think at this point, I've kind of closed in the muzzle a little bit too much to have an open mouth. So maybe what we'll do is we will specifically try to get an open mouth on our next animal. So the butler oftentimes will talk with or will use Taylor Swift quotes in conversation with me, just because they know that if they say a Taylor Swift like line from one of the songs, then I'll get that song stuck in my head. And especially when I have like a song that I don't like stuck in my head, sometimes I get these songs that I've heard at like on the radio in a store or something stuck in my head, and I don't particularly like them. So I will be complaining about them, and so then the butler will try to, I guess, change the radio station in my head by, you know, speaking in Taylor Swift quotes. That actually reminds me, I play Dungeons and Dragons all the time, and a lot of times I'll play like homebrew versions of it. So several years ago, I was playing a post-apocalyptic kind of cyberpunk-esque campaign, and one of the races was sentient drones that projected holographic people, right? And so each of the drones kind of had a personality of a celebrity, because, you know, they were all created by an AI, and AIs can't create things, you know, or new things. They have to remix things. So I created one of these drones as one of my characters, and the celebrity it was based on was Taylor Swift. And so, do you stream video games? I don't actually stream my video games. Maybe I should, but I don't. But the drone only spoke in Taylor Swift quotes. And you know what? There are so many songs in Taylor Swift's discography that you could pretty much find a quote that is useful for any situation. It was fun. I mean, there's quotes from The Archer and the Great War that are related to combat. There is all kinds of quotes for, you know, love stories and things like that. But there's also really everyday things that you can find a quote for just about anything, because her songs are just so generalized. It's fun. Like Bumblebee and the Transformers when his vocal generator went out. Yes, that. Do you collect D&D dice sets? I have one dice set because a lot of times I play over Discord. So I don't have a lot of physical dice because I'm using Discord roll dice bots oftentimes, just so that everybody's on the up and up and everybody can see all of the dice. I would love to stream some of our D&D games, but I can't convince the fellow players to stream their experiences. I would love to do that, and I would love to do a little bit of gaming streaming, but I kind of feel like by the time I finish streaming for you guys, my brain is a little bit fried, and so I kind of zone out and I do really boring gaming stuff. So like a lot of times after I'm done streaming, when I want to relax, I'll just go around a zone and just pick up all of the crafting nodes. And that's all I do for like hours. So I just don't think that I do interesting enough stuff on video games. So I don't know, maybe I will find some people specifically to start a real live play. It would be fun. I would love to do it. Let me do another heat, and then we can talk some more. Keep on keeping on. We're doing a lot of talking today. I just want to make sure that we're getting some hammering in too. Okay. Let's see if I can put this guy in like so. And we're going to use this guy for our eyeballs. This is my center punch. I think maybe I started from the wrong angle. So let's start like so maybe. I don't know. Or I dropped it and then I can heat it up again. We'll just heat it up again. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. There was a joke of a guy waking up from a nightmare where everybody was talking in REM lyrics. His girlfriend calms down. It was all just a dream. It was just a dream. Okay. Greetings, Ping. Welcome to the stream. Thank you all, or thank you so much for, oh my goodness, 15 months on subscriptions. Holy moly. Wow, that's like a year and 4 months. That's like as long as I've been streaming, you've been subscribed. Thank you so much, Ping. You are one of my earliest supporters. Thank you so much. Wow. We were just talking before about how time is just flying this year. Absolutely flying. Wow. That's true. The first. I think you were my first subscriber. When I first got what is it? It's not partner, it's affiliate. Yeah, when I first got affiliate and they unlocked subscriptions, we got a few in the very first, stream. But I still think that Ping was my very first subscriber. A lot of people have come and gone, but you guys have been pretty consistent. 10 seconds into your first stream. Yeah. Thank you all for being so consistent and so supportive. I would not be here still without you guys, Man. It's kind of funny too, because like P3 Droskus. Hello, miss. Hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. I probably butchered your name and I apologize for that. But welcome, welcome. I hope you have fun and enjoy everything that we're doing. Greetings from Argentina. Wow. That is awesome. I don't think we've had anybody from Argentina yet. We've got Australia, we've got England, we've got Belgium and Germany and several other places in Europe. But yeah, oh, Peter is okay. Awesome. Oh, you know what? The 3 could totally be an E. Maybe that's how I should have read it to begin with. But yes, welcome, welcome. I hope you have fun here. I try to be as entertaining as possible. And you guys entertain me as much as I hope I entertain you guys. Yes. So yeah, it is tax season here in the United States, and we have to get all of our taxes in on the April 15th. So last week I turned in all my tax paperwork, and we started the business for our stream last year. So I brought out as much of the paperwork as I possibly could. And I got a phone call today from my accountant, and she was all like, I don't need all of this paperwork, Ray. I just need this, this, and this. And I'm like, wow. I definitely gave you far too many papers this year. I will remember for next year. Peter dry. Okay. That makes sense. All right. I will try to remember. I like to try and remember my followers' usernames and how they're pronounced. So thank you for giving me a pronunciation that I can use. Thank you. Nice workshop. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I just actually rearranged all of the stuff on the project wall over here. So we used to just have the signs, the raise sign, the smithy sign, and then this little guy, and then this little guy. And I've added so much more, and we filmed it yesterday. So my only bad thing is that I accidentally broke my LEDs. There's supposed to be LEDs on the top, the big square metal sign. They're supposed to be purple and pink LEDs that go around in a circle, and I accidentally dropped an axe on the cord and severed it, and I can't fix it. So I have to order more LEDs to put on our sign. Welcome in, Yankee. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's do another heat. How's your garden going, Yankee? I just put my starters outside because I hear there's not supposed to be any more frosts. So I'm hoping that I don't accidentally kill my plants because I shouldn't have done it as quickly as I did. I don't know much about gardening, but we're starting to try it. All right, let's put some eyeballs in here. Maybe. All right, that actually looks like an eye. I will show you guys in a second. Ah! All right, are we looking like yeah, that's not bad. We're doing pretty well. For once in my life, I'm actually, it's doing what I think it's supposed to do. A lot of times I think about it, and what I think is going to happen and what it actually happens do not match. But in this case, I think we're doing pretty well. So it's not the best looking dog in the world, but it doesn't look terribly off. So we're going to do one more heat for these eyes and maybe the muzzle a little bit. And then we'll probably turn it around and start working on, hopefully, a bottle opener on the other side. Why not solder it back together? I suppose I could. Like the ears, because they're not in the right spot. I probably could solder them back together. Or possibly weld them. But I don't know. We'll see what I decide to do. Yeah, it's still too cold mostly here. I will wait until May 20th to plant out starts. Ah, okay. See, here it is 80 Fahrenheit here today, which is absolutely insane. It's very, very warm. So pretty soon I'm going to have to start turning on the industrial fan to get some airflow in here. If I were using the big forge today, I definitely would have had to do that. So, yeah. I'm a little bit lucky. So yeah, I just put my starters outside, and we'll see if I have a green thumb or if I just kill them all. There's a part of me that is the part of me that's a pessimist thinks that I'm just going to drown them or I'm going to starve them for water. I think Sandwich was asking about, soldering my LED cord. Yeah, my LED cord. So there isn't enough. So, okay. So here is the cord. And so if I were to take the little cable thing, the cable guard off of here, well, okay, so we've got, you know, the little guys here, and it looks like they just kind of ripped off the LED. And so I could probably strip off some more of this, but there isn't enough left that can attach to the LED on the other side, right? So I will probably just order another set. I only paid like $25 for it, so it's not too bad. I probably could, you know, attempt it, but I think it's a little bit too small for me. I'm not real good at electronic soldering. I'm mostly good at silver soldering, and those are kind of different. So I guess we're in the middle of an ad now. So once that ad ends, I will do another heat probably. I'm gonna do the mouth and maybe work a little bit more on that eye. There, one eye is deeper than the other. I probably should get a water real fast. I will be right back. I'll probably not make it back before the ad is over, but I will do my best. I will do my best. This is what I want. These are littler than I thought they would be. All right, and we are probably back. This is teeny. I did not realize that I was buying the small ones. I would prefer the 32 ounces, but this one is like 12. So it's like a can of soda, I guess, but it's Gatorade. 80 Fahrenheit. It's only 26 Celsius. It's not even hot at 80 Fahrenheit. Well, ordinarily I would agree with you. I don't find 80 Fahrenheit to be all that hot. However, I am running forges over here that get upwards of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And so they produce ambient heat that increases the temperature in here closer to 100, 120, and higher when the temperature outside gets higher. So it's not too bad today because I'm using the little forge and I've got the garage door open and I've got a door over here and a window open. So I've got lots of cross draft, but so it's not too bad today, but it's going to get worse over the summer. It's going to get awful. It's going to be a scorcher. All right, let's do another heat. All right. If I can get this out of here. Maybe, maybe not. You know? There we go. That's better. Much better. Okay, that's better. Now we're going to try and split the mouth a little bit. It's probably going to be more of a start and less of a full split. Getting lots of scale falling off of this. All right, let's do another heat just to keep things nice and hot so I don't end up breaking anything. But first, think what I'm going to do is this. We are getting rid of the scale, and scale, what that is it is hot rust, and it keeps hitting me in my arm. And so that's not bad. He's kind of got a little cute face, right? So we're gonna start working on his mouth. He does not necessarily look like a dog, though. Maybe he looks more like a camel or a giraffe. Try 86 Fahrenheit while forging in a small enclosed area with that horrid humidity. That gets rough. I can imagine, man. I can imagine. Last summer, we got up to 130 degrees in here, right? It was like 100 degrees outside, but it was 130 in here. And all that's in Fahrenheit. I'm sorry. I don't have the association between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So it's really hard for me to do that, the translation without Google's help. So apologies for that. No worries, I'm using Google's. Can't adjust the forge to make it less oxygenated, which makes it have no scale. I have self-regulated burners, right? So it's a lot harder for me to adjust the oxygenation on these guys because they don't have like a choke on them at all. So it's a little bit more challenging. These forges, like not the forges themselves, but the burners on these forges are super, super old. I started blacksmithing about, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, back in like 2010. I guess it's been a lot longer than 10 years now these days. But yeah, so you couldn't just buy burners back then. I had to build them. So they're not quite as sophisticated as the burners that you can get these days. Yeah, that is a long time for a burner. This one is the oldest one, this one right here. And then the other one, the smaller one that I'm currently using, that one's probably actually 10 years old. But the big burner that goes to the big forge, that one is definitely 15, 16 years old. So I've been keeping it running all that time. Trading the forges themselves, though, because like I started with a refractory wool forge, and they only last so long, and then the coating starts breaking down, and then the wool starts breaking down. You got to replace it every so often. Propane tends to make more water during combustion too. Yes, it does. It definitely does. A lot of the water actually collects on the tank itself. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. All right. So we're going to do one more heat here on the post vise. We're going to open up a little bit of a mouth. And then from there, we're going to turn the piece around and we're going to start working on a bottle opener. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get my punches to work very quickly, and I should be able to punch the hole in a few heats. But yeah. Yeah, the main products of combustion are water vapor and carbon dioxide. I'm dreading using that wool. I like fire brick, no issue. Yeah, this forge here is a fire brick forge. So I made it, I cut all of my fire bricks into 60-degree angles so that I could do a hexagonal forge. And then the little forge is made out of a single fire brick. I love the hexagonal forge though, because it promotes a flame vortex. So the angles kind of push the fire around a bit, and it starts creating a flame tornado, and it gets hotter, much, much hotter than just a flat burner. All right. So that's a little bit awkward looking. Like I said, I think it looks a little bit more like maybe a giraffe and a lot less like the dog that I was going for. But this is only my second animal, or my second attempt at making an animal at all. So I think I'm doing all right overall. Aside from the whole dropping part. I seem to be dropping it quite frequently. All right, let's turn this around and we'll kind of take a look at it a little bit. We kind of got, some little ears going and a little bit of mouth and some eyeballs. So like I said, I think it looks more like a giraffe than a dog. We're going to turn this around. I'm actually going to use the anvil so I don't drop it more. And we're going to start heating up the opposite side. Alrighty. And let's move the camera while we're at it. Maybe. Maybe not. Ah! So many cables. Electric cables as well as oxyacetylene cables. I've got an oxyacetylene rig over here. Tripping over my hoses. Never noticed that. High school chemistry. Yeah, when I make my gas bottle forge, I'm not doing it straight down. What's that? I never finished school. Joking, I know what it is. Just never actually got that far. Is he going to have legs and a tail? No, this time he is only going to have a head. Last week, we made a lizard, and the lizard had a body, legs, and a tail, right? So we made this guy last week. I think I finished him on Wednesday. So Friday, I started this dog, and then we only really got to work for about 50 minutes because I was having internet issues. So today, it seems like things are a lot more stable. Knock on wood that they stay that way. But overall, we've had a much better experience today. So this was my first attempt at making an animal. That's my second attempt. So I'm not doing an amazingly good job yet, but the subsequent animals that I keep on keeping on and doing and practicing should be better. So both of these animals were supposed to be bottle openers because I am in an Instagram blacksmith challenge group. And so they have a challenge every month. And this month's challenge, the month of March, and I know that March ends tomorrow, is a bottle opener. So we shall see if I can get a bottle opener finished in time for the challenge. Does the lizard open bottles? It does not. I was trying to draw out the tail. The idea was to draw out the tail a lot longer than this and make it into a hook bottle opener. And unfortunately, I just didn't cut in enough on the material, so I couldn't draw it out as long as I wanted to. So we are learning things as we go, and while this one is not a bottle opener, maybe another one someday will be. I do have a bottle to open in my refrigerator right now. So if I can finish this bottle opener in time, I will open up the bottle. It's strawberry soda, so it's not like it's beer or anything fun. But I don't really want to drink on stream, you know. So because I try to keep things a bit on the family friendly side around here. I mean, you can just hammer the word dog into a bottle opener and then it will literally be a dog bottle opener. That's very true. That's very true. Honestly, I just wanted to make a little bit more of a fancy bottle opener. Because a bottle opener is a really simple object to make. Because really all you need is just to have a chunk of steel. You either draw it out to do a hook bottle opener or you punch in a round bottle opener, and it's really simplistic, and the details and the challenge is in decorating it. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge, and so I started making these animals, or at least attempting to make animals. I don't know how successful they are. Unless the challenge is more specific with the rules. Yeah, it was just to make a bottle opener and either a leaf or a flower. And I made my leaf already, but I just kind of wanted to make more of a fancy bottle opener. Do we get to see the other challengers? I do not have any of their pieces that are in a format that I can show on stream. But if you guys are interested, I will ask the rest of the competitors if they would be all right with me copy pastaing their images onto my Discord. But I have to, I have to get their permission because I can't just like show people's work that they, So, yeah. I will see if I can't do that in the Discord. But unfortunately, I don't have a way to do that on the stream right now. I'll work on it. Yeah, I'd love to see who wins and what everyone made. I think last month our challenge was to make a tool that will work for you in your shop, something that you don't have. So I didn't have I have a lot of tools, but this one right here, this is a curved chisel. And I don't have a curved chisel, but these things are really specific, but they're really nice to have. So this was really my entry, but I did a full set of 4. Just so that it wasn't just one little piddly thing. All right, let's move and you know what? We're dropping things some more. Somebody give me a drop. All right, so let's set our anvil up and do our first heat on the actual bottle opener. And it's not like anybody wins anything like too exciting. It's mostly just the winner gets to pick the next challenge, and we just try and get better every time. All right, so we're basically just thinning out this end so that I don't have to go through quite as much material when I'm doing that punch. So we'll probably do one more heat of that just to kind of fix the skew that I've created and thin it out just a hair bit more. Then we'll start punching. Yeah, a curved chisel. It's not something that a lot of blacksmiths have or that they really have a use for, but occasionally there's some interesting things and textures that you can do with a curved chisel. I started my metal career not as a blacksmith, but as a silversmith, right? So a curved chisel in silversmithing is far more common to see in someone's shop than it is in a blacksmith. So I kind of took my silversmithing knowledge and translated it what I could into blacksmithing, and I learned a whole bunch of new stuff. I also am a journeyman jeweler, so like goldsmith. So we have done quite a bit of casting and making jewelry and all kinds of stuff. So I try to stream primarily blacksmithing, but I do have other things that we do occasionally here. This is the last thing that we did in my silversmithing shop. This is a pauldron. So it's a piece of armor. And I guess it goes on this shoulder because this is the Mandalorian's pauldron, and we've got the Mudhorn emblem on the side of it. Oh, nice. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Although I really wanted to affix it to the wall with all of the other projects, but it's not quite, it doesn't quite have enough of a right angle to kind of hang on the hooks. It's still a little bit of a concave angle, so I couldn't get it to stay when I tried to hang it up. So we tend to do more in the jewelry shop when it's super duper cold out here and I can't work because I can't turn the lights on. Or when I will probably go back down there when it is super, super hot and I just can't stand to sweat out here. Magnets, yes. That's what the Buller was talking about. We should affix some magnets to it and the wall. Makes it a lot easier to hang it. I so want to make a medieval helmet and armor, but yeah, I don't see any, or I don't see that anytime soon. Yeah, I promised that over time we would make individual pieces that would add up eventually to a suit of armor, like a full suit. But they aren't going to all be the same style. So we voted as a community on what style we wanted for the pauldron, what design, and we decided the Mandalorian's pauldron. So next time I decide we're going to do a piece of armor, we'll vote again and as a community, and we'll decide what design we want to do. I'm really partial to doing something that's actually historic for our next one because that was the next highest vote count, was the Mandalorian or the historical replica. And so since we did the Mandalorian, I'm kind of partial to the historical replica. I keep seeing armor smiths on Facebook and I get so jelly watching what they make. It is so much fun. I love it. It's so much fun. Let's do another heat. Specifically because I use a lot of my silversmithing techniques when I am doing armor. There's a lot of special tooling and stuff that you need for it, and I love it. All right, I think that's thin enough. All right, so I think what we're going to do for our next heat is we are going to start punching the hole through there. We're going to push the punch all the way through so that it goes all the way through the piece. And then we're going to start stretching out the bottle, or like that round on the horn of the anvil. Ugh. Because I can speak today. Buffering. It does not look like it's me today. However, on Friday, it was definitely me. So when I see buffering or like frame drops, my knee jerk is just to be really apologetic. But it looks like to me that I have not lost that many frames and we're still relatively stable. Super excited. It looks like, for the moment, that we have enough bandwidth to continue streaming relatively stably. I've dropped you down to 480p and I'm still getting buffering. I'm sorry, that's sad. Sometimes you gotta refresh the page. Just listen to her lovely voice. Thank you. Honestly, I don't feel like I have that good of a voice. I'm very self-conscious about it. I'm not self-conscious about my look or anything. It's my voice. But I feel like everyone is self-conscious about your voice because, you know, when you hear your voice while you're speaking, it sounds completely different than what it sounds like when other people are listening to it. And so I do all of this recording and I play it back because I edit all my stuff and like for a long time, I hated the sound of my own voice. I'm used to it now. I've gotten to the point where I can compartmentalize, but you know, it's that whole, you don't want to listen to your recordings, you know? I hate my voice. I'm so squeaky. See, I think I'm squeaky too. Am I dropping frames? It says I've only dropped 504 today, according to OBS, in the 2 hours and 4 minutes, I mean. So if I'm streaming at 60 frames per second, which I am, that means, let's do a little bit of quick math. That means I have lost a total of 8.4 seconds today. No, not right now. Looks good. Awesome. I'm super excited. Like I said, I got the supervisor to come out here and he pulled everything apart and and put it all back together, and he replaced whatever it is that connects my house on the pole to their like big internet box. So everything is new and replaced, and fingers crossed, that's what it was. But I also have his direct company line, so if anything happens, I will just text him. Be like, I need help. Fix, please. All right. So I've got an ad that's going to be starting in about 1 minute. So once that ad is over, I will do my next heat. We're going to start by punching our hole with the big old punch, because that's gonna be closest in diameter to the horn of the anvil, and I want to open up this hole pretty wide. So we're gonna start with this guy. But yeah, I was on the phone for an hour on Friday after we lost stream, arguing that I deserved to have a technician come out, even though, according to their readings, everything was reading within parameters. So I hope that it looks good today. he had increased my ping by double by the time he left on Saturday. But I've been having a lot of ups and downs, so I'm hoping that, you know, it stayed stable enough that the stream stays stable. All right, we are in the middle of an ad break. Ad break. All right, so we got about 30 minutes left in the stream. Fingers crossed we can get this guy completed in that amount of time. I'll probably go a little bit later just to finish this guy if I can't get it punched out fast enough. Within parameters is such a lame explanation. It was clearly not working. Yes, exactly. But like, streaming takes a really high amount of upload speed, and the parameters for the upload speed is a broad swath of bandwidth, I guess. So like, less than ideal streaming conditions is still technically within parameters and within spec for the IP's plan, or yeah, or ISP, the ISP's plan. So yeah, I think that I'm probably one of their only streamers in this area. So, you know, time to shop providers, right? Right now, the Charter, that's the provider that I have. They have the best price to speed right now. We have some, what upload rate do they guarantee? 500 megabytes, I think. Because right now they guarantee like 500 megabytes, but I think they said between 200 and 500 was their within spec. And that's a really broad, like differential, and it dropped below 200. They just didn't want to admit it because I could still stream at 200. So yeah, there is a new provider that, because they put fiber in front of the house, and then they're still adding fiber like down the line a little bit further, but there is a fiber provider that will allow you to hook on, but it's like double the price, and I just don't have that kind of money right now. Maybe later on when I start getting monetized on YouTube and I'm bringing in a little bit more money, we can upgrade and it'll be a lot more stable. But right now, 1/10 of that for streaming, that should be fine. Well, clearly it's dropping below that then. Megabits per second, I guess. That's a whole lot. Yeah. So I don't know, because like they claim that they guarantee the 200, but I was getting like 30 and less. So, you know. All right, let's do another heat. We'll start doing our punch. Needless to say, we seem to be doing a little bit all right today, so knock on wood that it stays that way. And I don't have to call them again. All right, we're gonna put this right along here. The initial few blows tend to be a little bit on the slow side because I want to make sure that I am not moving and dancing the piece around. Okay, let's heat this back up again. Like I said, we're going a little bit on the slow side. You can kind of see that there's a little bit of a ghosting starting there. So we should be able to go in earnest in a heat or two. Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure that my punch is not skating along the surface. All I can get here is 160 megabits down and 35 meg up. Cable would be more in max, but not at peak hours. Welcome to good old Germany. We get fiber eventually, probably like 10 years. So a lot of our internet here in the United States actually goes along our telephone wires and our telephone cables. So it gets a little bit iffy at times because they're up in the air. And so if they start shaking around, it causes all kinds of problems. The connections tend to start eroding at times because of the rain, specifically in larger cities where there's lots of smog. And so it gets a little bit iffy sometimes. I wish everybody was getting some good internet though, because I feel like internet these days, it's not a want anymore. It's pretty much a need. If you want to work, you almost have to have internet in your home. You doing good? We'll probably do another heat. Like I said, we're probably going to do a little bit of extra time just because I do want to finish this if possible today. All right, let's make sure that we're getting in there just so. We're doing a little bit of skating, not too bad though, so I think we'll be all right. You can kind of see that we've got our hole started right there, so we're going to keep on keeping on. There is a little bit of skating you can definitely see, but I think it's going to be all right. Ooh. It's a little bit oblong. There's a flat bit. It looks like my punch has maybe chipped a little. I think it'll be all right. We'll just open that up by hammering a little bit further down, but always fun to see that. Yeah, it is essential. Plus, I feel a lot of companies and utilities will be requiring online bill payment soon. Yes. I mean, so many of our utilities only pay online. You have to do like direct withdrawal or whatever. And you can't set it up on the phone. You have to do it online. Here it goes through the telephone lines for the last mile. The next box in the street where my telephone line goes is 300 meters away. So 160 to 35 is what the line can deliver. So probably telephone wires from the 70s or so. Wow. That is kind of crazy. I mean, I think around here, we live near, I live in Tornado Alley, pretty much. So there's constantly like really heavy rainfall, lots of wind, hail, ice, things like that. And so every few years, we get a really, really big storm and they have to replace a lot of the cables. So our cabling is a lot newer than some places, I think. Starting to get a little on the tired side, but that's all right. We're starting to wrap up the stream. Like I said, I want to finish this hole and I want to finish the bottle opener section of this. And then after that, we will probably end the stream. Alternative here would be TV cable. Yeah, we have some of that as well, you know. On our TV cable lines. But I kind of feel like those are kind of the same lines around here somewhat. All right, let's do another heat. For our next heat, I'm probably going to move the camera again. Man, I am always so afraid of like squishing my hand when I am doing punches. So that's why I'm doing it a little bit. I'm being a little bit of a wussy when it comes to this, so apologies. We are about a quarter or maybe a third of the way through. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to straighten everything out, make sure that we're going to get the correct size hole and not stretch it in weird ways. But we're going to keep on keeping on. It'll probably be about 2 more heats. And then we'll start stretching it. All right, let's do another camera change. We're going to move over here, but I think we're going to go, no, we're not going to go that way. I think we're going to go over here because it's a little bit different-y, a little more different-y. And then we'll change it again in a couple of heats when we are actively trying to punch or like get the plug out. I'll move closer to the door so you guys can see that real nice and close. As said above, underground is stable but takes ages to upgrade. Once in the ground, the stuff stays there for several decades. It definitely does. Because nobody wants to dig up all of the old infrastructure. So when they were putting the fiber in, it's underground, and they actually put tubes underneath of there. So there's like these little tubes that they can kind of like pull the cables in and out with like some tool that they've got. It's pretty nifty. Can't wait to get Starlink Gen 3 satellites. Much better bandwidth and no wires. I don't know. I've thought about Starlink, and I was looking at this particular, so the ISP manager guy gave me a link for a speed test website. There was an ad for it on that website, but I haven't really looked too far into it. I would love to see it because the more we start traveling, the more we're going to need a mobile hotspot. And so it would be nice to be able to get something really consistent. Here, everything is underground. Electricity, telephone, everything. Well, you know what? That's probably a lot less of an eyesore, you know? I think Starlink is good for a backup unless you want to use it for mobile. Does it not work well for mobile? Because that's the whole reason why I would get it, because we go to all of these different conferences throughout the year. This year I have 6 planned. Next year I want to hit 12 different events. And so if Starlink isn't good for traveling, then there's really no reason to get it outside of like a mobile hotspot from my cell phone, you know? Because I do a lot of live streaming specifically from, oh, that was worded badly. I meant it's good for backup and mobile. Oh, okay. Cool. Wouldn't use it for primary. Well, I don't have to use it for my primary because, like I said, we got Charter, we've got AT&T, we've got this new fiber company. I do not like AT&T. We had AT&T previously, and they did not have enough bandwidth for streaming anything. So I did not like that, but Charter seems all right for as long as I can get things now. Whoops, I dropped it. Oh my globs. Dropping things. All right, so we're getting pretty far in that. So I'm gonna do a little bit one heat on the back end, and then we will pop that right out of there. Let me straighten this out again, just to make sure that we're not stretching it in weird ways. So I've got a nice indentation here on the back side so we can kind of see where that's going to go through. So we're going to try and pop that direction, and then we'll pop it all the way through on this side. Two more heats. Fingers crossed anyway. Oh, did I drop something? I don't remember dropping it. But I trust you guys. You guys are pretty good on the dropsy. Starlink residential starts at $50 for 100 megabit per second service. Unlimited, it is $120 a month. See, that's a little bit too pricey for us right now, right? But if we start doing a lot more in the way of travel, that could be a lot more reasonable for our lifestyle. Yeah, there's a reason it's meant, or I meant it's good for backup. Yeah. It would be nice to have, though, you know. So far, we have been lucky enough to be able to get cell phone service everywhere that we've gone. We've gone to Indiana, we've gone to the Ozarks in Missouri, we've gone to a few randomy places. But yeah, roaming starts at $50 for 100 gigs and $165 for unlimited. All right. Like I said, that might be a little bit more reasonable, or like a year or two down the road. We're starting to make some little trickle of money here and there from the content that we make together, but I think I need to be a little bit more stable with the amount that we're getting. So we'll get there, and we'll probably need it eventually. All right, let's do another heat. They change pricing like every 6 months. They're just seeing what they're worth. I kind of feel like a lot of places are doing that these days. Are you saying you're unstable? Right? I am unstable. I'm super unstable. All right, I wanted to do this side, so we're going to do it this side. And we're going to come over here because there's a ghosting right there. All right. All right, so we should be good right like that for popping it out on the other, or on the next heat. So I am going to straighten this out one more time. You can kind of see right there where our little, the plug is popping out a little bit. So we're going to change the camera angle so that we're over on the Pritchell hole, and then we are going to pop that plug right out of there. But yes, I'm so unstable. Super unstable. All right, let's move the door. Make sure it's nice and open wide. Okay. Should be good right there. Let's make sure everything is in focus. Right there. Nice, nice. All right. Once we pop the plug out on this side, we're going to move the camera again over to the horn of the anvil, because we're going to open up that hole using the horn of the anvil. I want a pretty big, like maybe a 50-cent US 50-cent piece size. So I don't know how big that would be in euros, but I don't know, about yay big. I want it pretty big. I am out of liquid, guys. I am out of liquid. So we're going to have to finish this up pretty soon so that I can get some more hydration in me. I'm sweating today, so I need to make sure that I'm hydrated. I do not like getting kidney stones. Not a fan. So, on Wednesday, I think we're going to start a brand new animal. So, is there any animals that you guys would like to see me attempt? I think maybe I want to do a little bit of research and put a picture up on the screen so that I can kind of reference it. I'll see if I can't like put a picture on the screen for you guys too, so you guys can see the reference that I'm looking at. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for what kind of animal that we want to attempt on Wednesday for the stream, it'll probably be a Wednesday and Friday like stream. And then we'll start a brand new project on Monday. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you want to see. Or if you just want me to be like, make whatever. A snuffleupagus, that could be fun. That could definitely be fun, especially if I'm turning that thing into a bottle opener. You know, because it's like an elephant, a hairy elephant. I don't know if I'm skilled enough to make it look hairy though, right? Snuffleupagus has all of that like really wispy hair. I think I might have to change that from a snuffleupagus to a elephant. I mentioned a worm, Ouroboros earlier, but you might have missed it. I think I did. I do not remember seeing an Ouroboros. At least that's what I imagine that word is pronounced, Ouroboros. I've only read it. A hippo would be cool too. How about a Pooh Bear? Ooh. We're getting IP. I want to make sure that I'm not like getting too many IPs out there. I don't want to get copyright struck, but I think we could try. Maybe we'll try it. We'll see what we can do. All right, let's do our next heat. Pop the plug out. Oh, is Pooh out of copy? Yeah, you're right. You're right. He is out of copyright because they made a horror movie about him. I remembers. All right. Whoops. There. Why did I say whoops? That was the whole point. We got the plug out. That's exactly what we wanted. You can see that now. The plug is gone. So now we're going to plug it in this direction just to kind of straighten it out a little bit. All right. Now we're going to heat this back up and we're going to want to open that hole up a little bit further. This is not big enough for us to turn into a bottle opener just yet, but soon. I think one more heat on the pritchel so that we can move the material up the punch just a little bit further, and then we'll move over to the horn. As long as you don't do the Disney version. Yeah, I would definitely not be able to do the Disney version. They are super careful with their trademarks and their copyrights. I kind of fudged it a bit with the Mandalorian pauldron, but I don't really want to like press my luck too far. But I kind of feel like I could do whatever I want with these animals because I'm not doing a very good job at keeping them true to what they're supposed to look like. So I don't know. Maybe we will do an IP thing. So guys, I'm starting to get a little bit better about punching. It used to take me all stream to do a punch, like a hole. And I think I'm getting a little bit better at it. That definitely did not take me a full stream. It looks like it took me 15 minutes. Gun Ho Guy 4, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. We have reached our next goal, which is 530 followers. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having fun. Disney isn't quite as crazy about their stuff as Nintendo. I wouldn't try doing any Nintendo characters. They probably have someone at your door before you even finish heating the metal. I'll bet, man. I'll bet. Morning from down under. Ooh, another Aussie. We've got a couple Aussies now, it looks like. That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's pretty early, I'm sure. You got your coffee yet? All right, let's do another heat. Like I said, I'm starting to get a little bit tired and I'm out of water, so I wanna do some quick succession heats just so that we can get this all nice and finished, ready for the contest. All right, so we're starting to open it up a bit. I'm gonna put this down in the Hardy, put that there, and we're gonna look over here at the anvil, and it looks like we're almost there. So maybe one more heat where we are going this direction to open that up a little bit. So I know that I just dropped this punch that I'm currently using as a drip. You know what? I'm already fine. I deserve the drop. I deserve the drop. 7:30 a.m. Tuesday for me, and yes, coffee is being drunk. Yeah. I think I start streaming in Australia at like 4:30 in the morning. Or like maybe, yeah, it's like 4:30 in the morning. It's kind of insane. We are honestly finishing up. Obnoxious. Of course it would. Oh no, guys. The internet is going to hold me to my 2.5 hour time slot, it seems. Goodness gracious. Well then, we should be able to finish this. Hopefully that's the only drop that we have. If not, I don't know. But I will definitely be texting the guy because we're definitely getting a lot of ups and downs. And so, yeah, I want to make sure that we get rid of all of those drops. I was like, this person never used the internet beyond this time. Time to drop it. Exactly, I swear that's got to be what it was, you know? That's got to be what it was. All right, so we have an ad that's coming any moment now. And so once that's over, I'm going to do one more heat of attempting to open this hole up a little bit further. We've got about this far. I want to go a little bit farther, and then we will go onto the horn of the anvil to finish that up. Once we open that hole up to the size that we're looking for, we want to get rid of all those corners, make everything nice and fluid and even around that circle. We are going to be putting in a flat so that we can hook into the end of the bottle cap and get the leverage to pull up. I did not, or I was not aware that drop is a command to the ISP. I hope it's not. Goodness gracious. I hope it's not. All right. So we've got this ad and a couple more heats, and then we'll probably be rating off. Like I said, I think we're going to be doing at least 3 more heats. Probably more like 5. Heckling and it didn't even realize. Or hacking and it didn't even realize. I know, right? I'm trying, guys. I will text them and be like, we're still a little bit variable, and I'll let them know that we got a drop at the very end of the stream. Yep. But it's all right. I kind of feel like it's relatively all right. We just need a tiny, tiny bit more bandwidth. Still got a bit of copper in the mailbox. I don't know. Maybe? I know it's green, but I don't know. There might be a little bit of copper in the mailbox. Honestly, you know what? It might also be that there's still a little bit of contamination from the oil that I used. I used some canola oil in the forge because I did 2 cycles of hardening for the scissors when I did those. So it might still be that. All right, let's do our hopefully last heat on the Pritchel, and then we'll go over to the horn. You know what? I'm just going to drop those deliberately. Okay. Yes, that is plenty big. Let me pick these back up again, and we will size them to the horn of the anvil. Yes, we've got plenty of material open, and so we shall be able to complete over the next couple of heats. We're got to get rid of these corners primarily. So this can go away. I don't need it no more. We blame the scissors. I like the green flames though. It's pretty. It is pretty. It's super pretty. All right. So we're going to take this camera and move it over to that side. So we're going to point it directly at the horn of the anvil. Because that's where we're going to be doing the majority of our work for the next couple of heats. We're going to be opening up the bottle opener so that we'll be able to hook in to the bottom of the cap and have the leverage to pop that top. Alrighty. Couple more heats and I will be able to get another drink. And use the restroom. Yeah. Alrighty. Are we hot enough? Maybe. Alright, let's do this. I think we're hot enough. All right. We've opened it up quite a bit. We're going to do a couple more heats of that. I want the opening to be the same width all the way around. So we're getting there. And the anvil is moving, so I gotta make sure that I move it the right way. And it's still like in the shot and stuff. All right, it looks like it's all right. Okie doke. Let me move it a little bit further. Oh, I think we're all right. Close. I keep looking for my water or my Gatorade or whatever, and I'm out. All right. So I think I'm actually going to walk around the other side of the anvil because it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to do this, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. We shall see. I'll put that there. That way I don't end up covering what we're doing as much. We're getting there. I think I'm going to do one more heat where we're opening this up a little bit. We're almost to the point where it's pretty even around there. There's a little bump right there that I want to take care of. And then we're going to go back to the punch, and we're going to put a little bit of a flat there that we can use as the part where that goes underneath the cap. That's what I'm trying to say. I used to do some blacksmithing at school many moons ago, but I remember that the furnace had a big coal pit and a bellows on it. Wow. That's a classic. So this is a coal forge. This is actually, this is not. Why am I saying it's a coal forge? It's a propane forge. This one's made out of a single fire brick. This one is made out of quite a few fire bricks. But I do have a coal forge over there. I just don't have a nice flume for it. So if I were to light it, the entire area would be full of smoke, and I just can't have that. It's invisible coal. Yeah, it's invisible coal. Invisible. All right, let's do another heat. It's starting to get thinner, and so we aren't needing to spend as much time in the forge. So we're doing pretty well. Let's move that. Trying to make it a little bit more rounded. Slowly but surely. All right, so it's pretty round. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring back the punch and put that flat in there. Drop. Drop, drop, drop. Let's not step on our hammer, too. We already dropped it. That's abuse. Hammer abuse. I am Hank Hill approved. You must buy, you must buy, you must buy propane. I buy so much propane that the people at the place that I go to get it, they recognize me and they're like, "You want propane, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yes. Yes, I do." All right, let's move the camera. Ugh. I got like dirt near my nose or something. That or it's just me, you know, maybe my nose hairs have grown or something. I don't know. Is that a thing that I'm allowed to say? Are women allowed to say that they got nose hairs? That actually reminds me. I had an ex-boyfriend. We were really, really young at the time. And I convinced him that women don't actually go to the bathroom and that when they go to the bathroom, it's just them sitting and talking. Everyone has nose hairs. They do. Don't they ever wonder why you use so many propane tanks? I actually told them that I'm a blacksmith. So they know why now. They find me interesting. Whether it is suitable to mention is not a question of gender, but still questionable, right? I know, I know. Let's cool down the punch real fast. A little bit. All right. And then this guy is going to go back in the water. It didn't leak today. I'm super excited. That probably means that, you know, it didn't break, right? Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to put in the little tabby thing that you put underneath of the cap for the bottle. The cap for the bottle. I've forgotten what that's called like 4 times today. I think my brains are starting to go a little bit mushy because we're starting to get to the end of the stream. Getting towards the end of the stream. Okay, let's stick you right there. All right, we're starting to get it. You can kind of see it starting right there. We got a couple more heats and we'll get that thing nice and flat. Give ourselves a bit of leverage. Of course, women do not use the bathroom. They also do not eat or drink, but live off of cosmic energy. I didn't expect him to actually have believed that. I think it was more like I made him think twice. I don't think he actually like did believe like long term, but like for a couple seconds, I think I had him questioning his belief systems. But like I said, like we were really young. I think I was like 16 or 17. So we were pretty young. Even that is unbelievable and tells something about what children learn. Well, here in the United States, I feel like we don't learn anything about the opposite gender, you know, because all of the like sex ed classes and stuff are usually done separated. So I don't think people learn about the opposite gender until much later in life here in the United States. And you made your Christmas check and he failed the wisdom, or charisma check and he failed the wisdom check. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do another heat. Yeah, the United States has some hang-ups about that sort of thing. I'm not going to get too deep into it though because politics, and we don't do politics here in this chat. Okay. I think I'm going to do one more heat just to like lock that in. We're getting there, but I think it's still a little bit on the thicker side. So we're going to do one more heat to lock that in. And then we'll be done. We had the details on how the bees and flowers stuff actually works in elementary school and all this stuff about menstrual cycle and so on in like 7th grade. Yeah, we don't do that here. We don't do that here. I won't lie. Honestly, I don't know that I knew about the menstrual cycle until I was almost in like 6th or 7th grade. But yeah, so like I said, I think we're going to do one more heat in order to finish this guy up. And then after that, I will probably raid off. I probably am not going to go and grab that bottle. We'll do the bottle on Wednesday stream. What do you guys think? It'll be like the first thing that we do. We'll open that bottle. All right. Another heat. And I saw my parents switch my little sister's diapers, so I was pretty aware females have a digestive system, right? I also had to help my sibling in diapers when I was younger. That ex was an only child. Okay. Alrighty. I think we maybe not. I don't know. Let me try that one more time. I think we're good now. Yep, I think we're good. Alrighty. I think that's all she wrote. We've got a bottle opener with maybe a dog's head on it. I don't know. With a something head on it. So I think that's all she wrote for the day. We will do some more on Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a great evening. I hope you have a great evening. All right, let's go. Outro. Okay. Let's see. Who is available to raid? Looks good. Nice bit of work. Thanks. I still think that I need a lot of practice on making animals, but I think it was a little bit better that I actually got a bottle opener out of it, unlike the other one. All right, I think we're gonna go and raid Mr. Boombody today. All righty. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you on Wednesday. Bye, guys!